Welcome to the fourth video series where I will explain you everything from how to start and scale your Airbnb business. And today in episode 4 we're diving into the operations and the automations. Like how could you operate the whole guest experience and how can you make life easier with all the automations. So my name is Niels Scheenaert. I run a holiday home company, currently have 30 plus units inside Dubai. And I started in summer 2024 and our peak month was last December 2025 with a net profit of 155k USD. With that being said, let's dive into the operations and automations. And the very most important one is the property management software. And the reason why this is so important is a property management software. It's basically the heart of your whole operations. This is where the bookings are coming in, even though they're coming from Airbnb and booking.com. This all comes together in this platform of the property management software. So your calendar is there. And another good thing is that, for example, whenever you have a booking from Airbnb and you have listed on your direct website, your direct booking website, you have listed on booking.com itself. If you have a single booking from Airbnb coming, this platform, this management software automatically close the calendar on booking.com, your direct website, and even if you have other platforms which you would like to use to list your apartment, it automatically closes this calendar because it avoids double bookings. So which one is the best? We have tried 3 of them. The first one is Hospitable. The second one is Hostaway, and the third one is Guesty. I would say here in Dubai, these are the 3 most common property management softwares. Hospitable, it's good, like it has all the features you need, but not that many features, right? I think this is just like a standard kind of PMS software where it could help, but maybe not as much if you're willing to scale your whole portfolio. I think then Hospitable has some bugs in their system, which is very uncommon to use then in that case. However, with that being said, it's cheap. It's one of the cheapest ones. So of course, the value which you're gonna get compared to the money which you're gonna pay, it's good. But I think there are better than Hospitable. The second one is Hostaway and the third one is Guesty. Guesty is a good one, but it's the complete opposite of Hospitable. Because with Guesty you have so many features. That many, and you only need 50% of that. Because of that many features, it's quite expensive. So Hospitable is kind of cheap. This one is more expensive. With that being said, you probably can guess it already. And that's why I put Hostaway in the middle of those 2. Hostaway is for me a PMS software which is kind of balanced between Hospitable and Guesty. It has not that many features as Guesty, but it has more than Hospitable. And it's just basically the balancing between those 2 platforms. With Hostaway, I think you have the perfect balance because it has more features than you need still. But instead of the 50% with Guesty, probably in this case you need only 80 or 85%. Also the price is between them, so for me it's a really good fit for everything which I need in order to run my operations as smooth as possible. So with that being said, Hostaway. What does Hostaway? What features has it and why it's gonna help you in your whole operations? The first one, which I already mentioned, it avoids double bookings. Another one, for example, is the calendar. The calendar for me, it's probably the most important one because with the calendar you can easily have an overview of who's checking in today, who's checking out today, which guest is coming up, and it's all mentioned within the calendar. And you can even leave host notes, which for us, for example, if a guest would like to have a baby cot or whatever, you can simply add it in there and the whole operations people, they can see it. Okay, these are the host notes, this is what we have to provide to a single guest. So it's super easy to use. And the third one is the automated messages. The automated messages is just, as you probably understand already, it's just the automated messages which will be sent to the guest. It could be whenever. You could customize the trigger. So for example, you could send the automation whenever they have the booking confirmation. You can send a message one day before checking or the morning of your check-in. You could check how their stay is with just a small check-in, how is everything going? Automated message and the checkout message. One day before they check out, you're gonna send them a message. The good part is that everything has been automated. You can fully customize it. So if you think, okay, we need to add this in it, it automatically triggers all the information from a certain listing. So you only have to set it up once and then with the customized fields you can implement that in your own listing, and then it automatically triggers the information which you have done in the customized fields to the automated message. So for us this is really like a game changer, because it makes life so much easier, because you don't have to do that many things manually. Of course you still have to do things manually, for example adding on the calendar, but I would say 80% with Hostaway is already automated. Another good tool with this one is the user management. The user management is you as the owner of the company, or you as whoever of the company, you can basically decide who will be the users of your Hostaway account. You can like tick a box that they have access to a certain task. You can disable it, you can enable it, you can fully customize your team, whoever has access to it. For example, you can add your cleaning team into it, and they can see it whenever they're gonna check in, check out. But I would say Hostaway, just to start out, the user management is a super pro in running your whole operations. The last one with Hostaway, which is creating your own website. Creating your own website really helps to get the direct bookings. Of course, you have to like rank yourself in the SEOs. There are all the things which you could do to stand out. The option that you already have, creating your own website, is for me a really good one, because you don't have to get in touch with another, or you don't have to buy another like funnel where you can buy your own website, for example Wix or whatever, all these kind of platforms. It's already integrated within Hostaway. You can create your own website, you can add your own domain to it, for example. So in our case it's wonderfulstay.ae. Our domain is already connected with our own website, so it's not just that Hostaway keeps your access to it. You can just customize it with your own domain. Another good thing is, like whenever you have imported your listing from Airbnb, it automatically should put your listing on your direct booking as well. Everything is super easy, a lot of automational trackers. So Hostaway is definitely one of our favorite and probably the most used platform in our day-to-day operations. With that being said, besides operations, you do have pricing optimizations as well within your operations. And that brings me to Price Labs. We already spoke about it within episode 1 with the market research, but Price Labs is a dynamic pricing software. A dynamic pricing software is just a software which is gonna choose your nightly rates based on supply and demand. So for example, whenever it's high season, it will increase your nightly rates because there's simply more demand than there's supply. However, in low season, it will drop your prices. So what you have to simply do is you go to Price Labs, you're going to create an account, and you fill in a base price. And this base price, there's a tool in it as well which will help you to understand what is the base price. It's not just a random number, but it's really based on whatever it's in the market, because they will track all the things, all the apartments which are in your market and in your area, and based on these data it will automatically decide your base price. And then with that base price, the system is going to calculate, okay, what should be the price be in low season, what should be the price in high season, and it will already give you like a rough idea what the prices should be. And still there's a lot of customizations, and these customizations could be that you, for example, you could go aggressive. And with aggressive, I mean that within high season, it really increased the prices, and with low season, it really dropped their prices. So you always want to be on top of, on top of the wave. You could also go a little bit more like conservative, that you don't want to increase your prices that much, but you also don't want to decrease your prices that much in low season. So it's up to you, whatever kind of strategy you would like to use. But with customizations, you can do a lot of things. You could increase your minimum stay. You could increase like that you don't want to have orphan gaps. You can do as many things as you probably want to do within customizations. I don't want to dive too deep in it, because there are like 1,000 of tutorials probably on YouTube which you could use as well, just to understand the whole Price Labs. But for now, it's really important that you understand that it's a dynamic pricing software, that there's a base price, that you have a lot of customizations in it. And the one which I mostly love, to be honest, regarding Price Labs, that is the neighborhood data. And the neighborhood data, it's all the data of that area which you have selected from your listing. So you can see all the data from your competitors. Like for example, you could look what the occupancy is, you can look what the nightly rates are, you can even check if you're underperforming or overperforming compared to your other competitors. There's like a graph as well, which is really helpful as well, because you can track the data from today compared to last year. So for example, if you already have your listing for over a year, you can basically track your numbers compared to last year. And if you see, okay, the demand is slightly dropping, for example with Ramadan, because it always shifts a bit more into the year, you could easily calculate what these numbers should be. And then based on that data, which will shown in that graph, you could implement it in your strategy, and then you can decide if you want to increase or decrease the prices for that period of time. But don't put it emotional, just put it based on the data which you already have. So with that being said, that's all about price labs. So Hostaway and Price Labs, these are the two most important softwares which you have to use in order to get started. So whenever you have set up everything, another one which is really important as well is building your own team. Because building your team is, you can't do it all yourself. For example, I have decided to start building my own team from 5 units onwards. When I came here in the summer 2024, my goal was to have 10 units at the end of the year. And I made a step-by-step guidance for myself. Okay, from 5 units, based on the experiences which I have, I think from 5 units, I should get my first hire and my first employee. And that's the exact strategy I've used and still used within our operations. Because the reason why I mention always 5 is you don't need to hire in a rush. And what I mean with no hire in a rush is, for example, if you're gonna start with, you just have so much focus on scaling your business, and at a certain point you have 10 units and you're just overwhelmed. You have day-to-day operations, you do everything yourself, you do the pricing yourself, the operations, the maintenance, the cleanings, you do everything yourself. At a certain point you just run out of energy. And that's the whole reason why I'm telling you, no hire in a rush. Because once you don't have that energy anymore, you don't have energy to find your hire, you don't have the energy to teach your hire, and you don't have the energy to delegate things. So from 5 units onwards, you still have the day-to-day operations, but you still got enough time to teach the new hire, to do the job interviews, to make the job posts, to do all these things. That's the whole reason, no hire in a rush. I don't know anyone who made a good hire in a rush. So this is really a good one. Do it from 5 units onwards. However, if you think I'm still too busy and with 5 units is still too much for me, you can even decrease that number. But I would never increase that number, because trust me, I did it myself. With 5 units, there's a lot of ongoing things on a day-to-day basis. But where you're gonna hire your first hire? The first one, which you could use, is Bait. Bait is just a hiring platform, and the second one is Indeed. The third one is Dubizzle, and you even have LinkedIn. We have tried all of them, but we made all our hires from one single platform. And the reason why is the quality of that platform, employees, are way better compared to the other ones. So you can forget all about them except Indeed. Indeed, that's the place where we have hired all the hires which we have currently and still working for us. The good thing is with Indeed, you could have qualified questions which could be deal breakers. So for example, if you want to hire the first employee, I would always suggest you, for example, that they have a driving license. So if you have the hire and you have the job post, you could basically mention, I want you to have a driving license. If you don't have it, no need to get in job interview with you because you don't have a driving license. Same thing with the experience. Whenever you're going to make the hire, always make sure that they have at least 2-year experience within the hospitality niche. So for example, you could ask them the question, what is the experience you have? And of course they can still play around with it, and if they only have 1. But you get my point. You can classify certain people just asking these questions, and based on their answer, the automations of this platform of Indeed gonna tell you, okay, this is a potential hire, or we just have to remove this and put it in the junk box. So this is a lot of good things which come from Indeed. This is your own team. This is more regarding the hires. What you also need to do is find reliable cleaning team and maintenance team. Those two are really important. Cleaning team and maintenance team. Just outsource these tasks right now. Because from the beginning, from the get-go, it wouldn't make sense to have your own cleaning team. It wouldn't make sense to have your own maintenance team. Because probably the hire which you're gonna make is more expensive compared to the monthly cost which you're probably gonna pay a maintenance team or a cleaning team. But with that being said, once you cross 20 to 30 units, we are in this right now. We have just set up our own cleaning team and we already have our own maintenance team. Because if I make the calculations with 30 units, it would be way more effective to start your own cleaning team and to have your own maintenance team. However, whenever you just have 5, 10, I would say whenever you across 20 units, this is something, starting in-house cleaning team, in-house maintenance team, this is something which you could consider. But with that being said, it wouldn't be easy. Because you do have the day-to-day operations, you do have the daily complaints which you have to resolve. So if these things are all delegated, then you could focus on your next task within the company, which is the cleaning and maintenance. But for now, just to get started, hire your own cleaning team, just an outsource like a third party, and the same thing with maintenance. However, make sure that they are reliable. This is probably the most important one. You have to trust them. Because if you can't trust them, it will affect your guest experience with the cleaning and it will affect your guest experience within the maintenance. For example, if they're gonna complain about the cleaning, you want to get in touch with the cleaning team and you want to make sure that without any doubts, they're gonna go back to that guest and they're gonna clean it or re-clean it or at least resolve the issue with the cleanliness. Same thing happens and means for maintenance. So reliability is very, very important within this business. You have to trust each other. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do, and it wouldn't be happening in the beginning, but this would be later on your journey once you have more and more units, you want to delegate all these things. Because with a business, you want to own a business and not just a job. That's the whole point. Once you want to build a team, delegate things, and then you can kind of work yourself more to the background, and then you can focus yourself on the main tasks if you want to, of course, but that's just how you can scale your business. So once that everything is done, you have set up price labs, you have done all these tasks, your guests can come in, and that's where your operation is gonna start. And then you have Airbnb and Booking.com. These are the two main platforms. But I want you to understand the difference between Airbnb and the difference between Booking.com. Because it seems like they are the same platforms, but there's a huge, huge difference in the guest if they book from Airbnb or Booking.com. And the first one is Airbnb guests are more home orientated. With Booking.com, it's way more like hotel orientated people. The difference is people who's booking with Airbnb, they do understand, okay, they book a home away from home. That's their whole experience what they have. But with Booking.com, they provide so many things. They provide hotels, they provide Airbnbs, they provide bungalows, they provide flight tickets, they provide car rentals, they provide so many things, which means that I would say 80% of the guests, they're not even aware if they book with Booking.com and they book your apartment that it's an Airbnb. They expect that's a whole hotel orientated and hotel kind of services. Another thing is with Airbnb, you have air cover. Air cover is just the kind of insurance from Airbnb. With Booking.com, you have deposits. Booking.com only works with deposits and we have to reserve a certain amount of the guest on their credit card. We don't charge it, we just need to reserve it. Whenever they break something, we can easily charge it from their credit card. However, be careful with it because it could affect the guest experience. With AirCover, there are certain strategies. With Airbnb, it's easier, I would say. With Airbnb, for example, you have a certain amount of limited promotions. And here you have unlimited, a lot of promotions. Limited promotions, I would say there are not that many promotions. For example, you only have new listing discount, you have weekly discount, monthly discount, but that's pretty much it with Airbnb. With Booking.com, you can play around with a ton load of promotions. You could do new listing discount, you could even nationality discount, you can do mobile rate discount, name it, and you could probably do it within Booking.com. You have an early bird discount, something which you could do, by the way, with Airbnb as well. But with Booking.com, you can play around with many promotions. And this is actually a good feature because then you can play around with prices. For example, if you want to increase your price with 100%, give a discount of 50%, the price you're gonna get, it's still the same. But for the guest side, they think, okay, they're gonna make a huge deal because there's a 50% off. So you can play around with Booking.com. So that the promotion is a good feature of Booking.com. With Airbnb, you can write your listing description. With Booking.com, description by BDC. In here, the description is made by Booking.com. You can still do some like customizations. You can request for, I would like to have this text in it. But with Airbnb, you have the full control. Of course, they're gonna check it if you don't have any kind of weird words or like you're shouting at things. But you can just mention your own listing description. With Booking, it's more controlled and you don't have that much control with it. The last one, Airbnb, is very easy to use. With Booking.com, I wouldn't even call it hard, but it's super hard to use. Whenever people ask me like, what do you think of Booking.com? I would always say it's a very, very good platform, and it definitely is. But at the same time, it's like a cockpit. You have so many features and you don't know where to get started. So for example, Airbnb took me, I would say, a couple of days to fully understand everything, because a lot of things speaks for itself. But with Booking.com, yeah man, it was a journey, man. You have to continuously reach out to the customer service of Booking.com. What does this mean? What does that mean? You can even ask ChatGPT, but even ChatGPT doesn't know everything regarding Booking.com. So Booking.com is a tough one, but once you crack the code with Booking.com, then you would definitely benefit from it. So with that being said, if they're gonna check in with all the automations, how do you get the 5-star reviews, which we're all aiming for? How to get, this is a star by the way, 5-star reviews. To be honest, it all depends. It starts with the cleanliness, it starts with your service, it starts with a lot of things. But there are kind of services which you could do, how to increase your 5-star reviews. And the first one, which we always use, is a welcome package. And this welcome package, it consists just a small tray in the kitchen. And it's like other, like kind of soap, washroom amenities just in the bathroom. But the mostly and highly appreciated is just a welcome package within the kitchen itself. We provide 6 bottles of waters, 4 outside the fridge and 2 inside the fridge. So whatever they would like, they can just take it. We provide 2 bags of chips. We provide 2 Cokes. We provide tea, sugar, coffee capsules, even the 3-in-1 kind of coffee sachets. So it's really good. They really love it, especially considering that, for example, people you don't know where they're coming from. For example, people who come from the US to Dubai, they have like maybe a 16 to 24 hour flight. You know, you can understand they are super tired. They just want to get their rest, and just to help them with their first kind of food and those kind of things, you just have the welcome package. And that's exactly where it's kind of starting with small amounts which we spend just to show our appreciation to the guests that they are staying with us. But with that being said, it's at the end of the day, it starts with a smooth check-in, it starts with a clean apartment, a good smelling apartment, and a well-maintained apartment. These are the first pillars just to increase your 5-star experience. Another thing how you can increase the guest experience is by responding time. And we have no longer than 5 minutes. Our responding time to a guest, whenever they ask us a question or they have like a request, whatever, we always respond within 5 minutes. And if we don't, there's like an automation bot which will respond to the guest. But we always try to do it ourselves manually. I just want to make sure that we have a personal touch and a connection with the guest. So for example, put yourself in the guest side, and if a guest has a question, or like a door lock doesn't work, or the fridge doesn't work, the washing machine doesn't work, you want to have your answer as soon as possible. And for example, if we do not respond within 5 minutes, and we do not respond within an hour, for example, because we're too busy with other things, which could be, the guest wouldn't be appreciating that. The guest could be upset. They think we have paid a lot of money for the apartment. Now this is not working. You're gonna create friction with the guest. And you want to avoid this as any single time. You just want to have the best guest experience, and what will definitely help is respond to the guest within 5 minutes. The guest is things like, okay, well, I feel seen by the host. You know, I'm just not a number. They really care about me. And that's what you want to achieve with the whole operations and the 5-star guest experience. So with that being said, the last one, which is really important, I would say, especially whenever you're gonna start delegating, is the SOPs. Like I mentioned already in the previous episode, the SOPs is standard operational procedures. So for example, the easiest way how to create the SOPs whenever you're starting out, write down every single task which you are currently doing. Write down how you do it. Write down, for example, if this happens, this is what I'm going to respond. Because the reason why I'm going to telling you it, whenever you're going to hire your first cleaner, you can just provide them with all the SOPs. They can look into it. So instead of reaching out to you because you're that busy, they can easily check everything themselves. So for example, they know exactly how to send an email to the building, for example. They know how to upload the passport within the system. They know how to schedule the cleaning. They know how to schedule the maintenance, for example. If you write down every single task, it saves you so much time. It saves you a lot of time just by creating an SOP. And in the beginning, it takes you time because you need to put the effort in it to write all these SOPs. But once you have done it, trust me, you will thank me later. It's like a game changer, honestly, because they don't have to reach out to you. They can just look into it. And with every single hire which you're gonna make, considering like if you don't have the SOPs, every single new hire gonna reach out to you like, how should I do this or how should I do that? And the same thing if they're not gonna reach out to you, but probably the first hire you're gonna make, like the second hire will reach out to your first hire. And that will basically distract them from the whole day-to-day operations. So for example, the most important one is to have the SOPs in place. They can easily look into it without disturbing anyone of your team. They can just look into it, read it, they know exactly what to do. And if they have questions, probably they will have, they can reach out to you or they can reach out to like the first hire which you're gonna make. So this one, in every single stage, no matter how many cleaners, how many employees you have, you're gonna make a huge benefit from it. So with that being said, you know everything on starting and scaling your Airbnb business. We have started with the market research. You know how to find the right markets in an area. You know how you can secure deals within the property acquisition. You know how to set up like your design, how to set up your listing optimization, how you basically can stand out from the competition and outperform 80% of your competitors. And last one, which we have just gone over, the operations and the automations. You know that you use Hostway, you know that you use Price Labs. All the things has been mentioned, how I personally did from starting at 0, scaling to 30 units within just 18 months. It's a step-by-step guide where I provided all the information which I have just to make your life easier and avoid you from all the mistakes I made. So with that being said, if you're starting your Airbnb and you have any questions, I would say comment below and our team will get in touch with you. Take care.